Is her chair stuck? Why is everyone just standing there? Someone should help her. Just record. This is going viral. Please, move back. Hey, who are you? I need space. You can't touch her wheelchair. If I don't, she's not leaving here. You've got 5 minutes. I'll need 4. Metal clicks. Wheel spins. Silence. How did you... Camber misalignment. Friction lock on the frame pivot. You're not campus services. No, I'm Jasper. Amina. And you just saved me from becoming a meme. Wasn't doing it for the internet. Then why? Because everyone else was watching. Someone had to move. Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Afro-Korean Story Vault, the hub of great stories. If you've ever felt invisible in a crowd or seen someone who refused to be, stay until the end. This story will change how you see strength. Hit subscribe so you never miss a story that matters. The Redwood Heights University Cultural Fair had been loud for 3 hours straight. Steel drums, competing with spoken word poetry, the scent of jerk chicken mixing with samosas and plantain, students performing their heritage like auditions. Amina Balogun sat near the athletics pavilion entrance, her adaptive sports wheelchair gleaming under the California sun, her posture upright and unyielding as the day she'd first learned to shoot. She'd agreed to demonstrate adaptive archery. A simple thing. Show the equipment, explain the technique, maybe inspire some freshmen who thought disability meant limitation. She'd done it a dozen times. But halfway through adjusting her chair's position for a better angle toward the target range, something had locked. Not jammed. Locked. The kind of mechanical failure that turns a person into a statue in the middle of a crowd. She'd tried the release. Tried shifting her weight. Tried the manual override. Nothing. And then she'd felt it. The shift in the air. The way noise changes when people stop participating and start spectating. Phones rose, like a field of black mirrors. Whispers started threading through the crowd. Is she okay? Should we call someone? This is so awkward. Are you getting this? Amina's jaw tightened. She didn't need help. She needed 5 seconds of privacy and a hex wrench. But she was trapped in the center of a circle that kept growing. Phones tilting, voices rising, no one stepping forward. Just watching, recording, performing concern without action. That's when he appeared. Jasper Lee moved through the crowd like water finding a crack, not pushing, just present. His toolbag slung across his shoulder, hands already reaching for the chair before anyone could tell him to stop. He was tall, lean, with black hair that fell across his forehead and grease stains on his knuckles that said he actually used his hands for something other than typing. Hey, who are you? Someone called out. Jasper didn't look up. He crouched beside Amina's chair, eyes scanning the frame, fingers tracing the axle housing. You can't just touch her wheelchair, a girl in a Redwood Heights hoodie snapped. If I don't, Jasper said quietly, his voice steady and unbothered. She's not leaving here. Amina stared down at him, her pulse kicking up, not from panic, but from something sharper. Anger, maybe. Or curiosity. She wasn't sure yet. You've got 5 minutes, she said flatly, testing him. He glanced up. His eyes were dark, calm, and entirely without pity. I'll need 4. He pulled a small wrench from his bag, popped the side panel on the camber adjustment, and tilted his head, listening to something no one else could hear. Metal scraped. A click. A spin. The wheel released. Silence dropped over the crowd like someone had hit pause. Jasper stood, wiped his hands on his jeans, and stepped back. How did you... Amina started. Camber misalignment, he said, already turning to leave. Friction lock on the frame pivot. Happens when the housing shifts under lateral pressure. You're not campus. Services. No. He adjusted his tool bag. I'm Jasper. Amina. She rolled forward slightly, Testing the chair. Smooth. Perfect. And you just saved me from becoming a meme. Wasn't doing it for the internet. Then why? He paused, glanced back over his shoulder. Because everyone else was watching. Someone had to move. And then he walked away, leaving her in the middle of a crowd that suddenly felt smaller, quieter, and far less important than the man who'd just disappeared into it. Amina didn't believe in fate. She believed in preparation, discipline, and the kind of control you earned by refusing to let the world decide your limits. But for the rest of that afternoon, she kept thinking about the way Jasper's hands had moved, confident, precise, without hesitation. The way he'd crouched beside her like she was a puzzle worth solving, not a tragedy worth filming. She found him 2 days later. The biomechanical engineering lab was tucked in the basement of the Applied Sciences building, a fluorescent-lit cave filled with half-built prosthetics, wheelchair prototypes, and the smell of solder and coffee. Jasper was bent over a workbench, spot welding something that looked like a knee joint, his face hidden behind a mask, sparks flying in short, bright bursts. Amina rolled to a stop in the doorway and waited. He didn't notice her until he lifted the mask. When he did, he blinked once, then set down the torch. Amina. Jasper. Need another rescue? Need to know who you are. He wiped his hands on a rag, considering her. Engineering student. 4th year. I work on adaptive mobility tech. Why? Why do you shoot arrows? She almost smiled. Touché? He leaned against the bench, arms crossed. My aunt lost mobility in a factory accident when I was 12. Took her 2 years to get a chair that actually worked for her body. Watched her fight with insurance, with doctors, with engineers who designed around averages instead of people. His voice didn't rise, but something in it sharpened. Figured I could do better. Amina studied him. There was no performance in his answer. No savior complex. Just a quiet, burning competence. You're good with your hands. I'm better with problems. Then I have one. She rolled closer. My chair's older than I'd like. Built for function, not competition. I'm training for nationals in adaptive archery. I need something faster, lighter, more responsive. Jasper's expression didn't change, but his eyes did. Something lit behind them, the look of someone being handed exactly the right kind of challenge. Custom build. Yes. From scratch. Yes. Why me? Amina tilted her head. Because you fixed my chair in 4 minutes and 42 seconds without asking what happened to me. You asked how it worked. That's the difference. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Jasper nodded once. I'll need your specs. Weight distribution, range of motion, shooting stance, balance points. When? Tomorrow. 6 a.m. Athletic Center. You're serious? You're not? She smiled. A real one this time, small and sharp. I'll be there. Good. He turned back to his workbench but paused. Amina? Yeah? Don't make me regret saying yes. Don't make me regret asking. That night, Amina's chair lost a wheel. She'd been leaving the athletic center after evening practice, rolling across the dimly lit path toward the parking lot, when the entire left wheel assembly just gave. No warning. No grinding. 1 second she was moving. The next she was tilted, stuck. The axle bolt sheared clean through. She sat there in the dark, staring at the detached wheel lying on the pavement like a betrayal. Her phone was in her hand before she could talk herself out of it. Amina. Wheel fell off. Outside athletic center. Don't suppose you're still awake. 3 dots appeared immediately. Jasper. On my way. She exhaled. She wasn't sure what she'd expected. Maybe a joke, maybe advice, maybe nothing. But he was coming. And that did something strange to the tightness in her chest. He arrived in under 8 minutes, breathless. tool bag bouncing against his hip, his hair messy like he'd been sleeping or studying or both. "Show me." She gestured to the wreckage. Jasper crouched, picked up the wheel, turned it over in his hands. His face darkened. "This is bad." "How bad?" "Axles sheared, frame mounts cracked. This isn't a 5-minute fix." "Campus services?" 90 minutes, maybe more." Amina checked her watch. "I have a training session in 20. Jasper looked at her, then at the chair, then back at her. "I can carry you." The offer hung in the air between them, heavier than it should have been. Amina's throat tightened. She didn't let people carry her, didn't let people see her as something that needed carrying. But Jasper wasn't looking at her like she was fragile. He was looking at her like she was someone with a problem that had a solution. "You sure?" "I wouldn't offer if I wasn't." She hesitated, then nodded. Jasper stepped closer, crouched slightly. "Arms around my neck." She wrapped her arms around his shoulders, and he lifted her with the kind of ease that came from actual strength, not performance. He adjusted his grip, making sure she was secure, then started walking. The campus was quiet. Their footsteps echoed. Amina could feel his heartbeat against her side, steady and unbothered. And for the first time in years, she let herself be held without feeling like she was surrendering something. "Why'd you run?" she asked quietly. "You needed help." "You don't know me." "Don't need to." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "My father would hate this." "Why?" "Because he thinks I should be more careful, more protected, less independent." He'd say realistic. Jasper's grip on her tightened slightly, protective but not possessive. "Sounds like he's scared." "He is, but that doesn't mean he's right." They reached the athletic center. Jasper set her down gently on the bench outside, then stepped back. "I'll fix the chair tonight. Have it ready by morning." "You don't have to." "Amina." His voice was firm. "I'm not doing this because I have to." She looked up at him, and something in her chest cracked open, just a little. "Don't make me regret trusting you," she said quietly. He met her eyes. "I won't." The chair was ready by dawn. Amina found it waiting outside her dorm, gleaming under the early light, a note tucked into the armrest. "Reinforced the frame, replaced both axles. Should hold. J." She tested it immediately, rolling fast across the quad, taking sharp turns, putting weight on the wheels. It was perfect. Better than perfect. She texted him. "Amina. You're dangerous." Jasper. "How so?" Amina. "You make promises and keep them." Jasper. "Is that dangerous?" Amina. "In my experience? Yes." Jasper. "Coffee tomorrow?" Amina. 8 a.m. Brewhaven. Jasper. "I'll bring sketches." Amina. "Sketches?" Jasper. "For your competition chair, if you still want it." She smiled at her phone, alone in her room, feeling something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Jasper arrived at Brewhaven 10 minutes early with a portfolio that looked like it had survived a war. He ordered black coffee, sat in the corner booth, and spread out drawings that made Amina's breath catch when she rolled up. "These are preliminary," he said quickly, "based on standard specs. But I need your input." She pulled the sketches closer. Every line was intentional, every measurement annotated. The chair wasn't just functional, it was elegant, built around motion, around balance, around a body that moved differently but moved powerfully. "You drew this for me. I designed it around you." He pointed to the frame. Lower center of gravity for stability during draw, cambered wheels for sharper turns, adjustable backrest for different shooting angles. He looked up. "But it's wrong until you tell me what works." Amina traced a finger along the design. "The armrests need to drop lower. I brace against them during release." Jasper nodded, pulling out a pencil. "How much lower?" 2 inches. Maybe 3. He sketched rapidly. Like this? Yes. And the wheel locks. Can they be foot activated? Absolutely. They worked for an hour, refining, adjusting, arguing over angles and materials and weight distribution. Somewhere in the middle of it, their coffee went cold. Somewhere after that, Amina realized she was smiling more than she had in months. Why me? She asked finally. You could build this for anyone. Jasper set down his pencil. Because you'll push it to its limits, and you'll tell me the truth when something's wrong. Most people are too polite. You're not. That a compliment? It's why I want to work with you. She held his gaze. How much? For what? The chair. Custom builds aren't cheap. I'm not charging you. Jasper, this is my thesis project. You'd be doing me a favor. That's not... Amina. His voice was calm, final. Let me do this. She wanted to argue, wanted to insist on paying. But something in his eyes stopped her. Not pity, not charity. Just a quiet, stubborn belief that she was worth the work. Okay, she said finally. But if this thing falls apart mid-competition, I'm blaming you. Deal. They shook hands. His grip was warm, calloused, steady. Neither of them let go right away. Late nights became a pattern. Amina would finish practice and head to Jasper's lab, where he'd be elbow-deep in welding, metal shavings in his hair, designs pinned to every available surface. She'd roll in, usually with food, and they'd work until midnight or later, him building, her testing, both of them arguing over details that mattered only to people who cared about perfection. The wheel, alignment's off, she said one night, spinning in place. By how much? 0.3 degrees. He looked up, impressed. You can feel 0.3 degrees? I can feel everything. He adjusted the camber without question. That was the thing about Jasper. He never doubted her. If she said something was wrong, he fixed it. If she said it worked, he moved on. No ego, no defensiveness, just competence. Tell me about your family, he said one night, out of nowhere. Amina stilled. Why? Because I want to know you, not just your specs. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, my father's retired military, Nigerian army. Colonel. He raised me to be disciplined, focused, excellent, and I was. Her voice tightened. Until the accident. How old were you? 17. Car accident. Drunk driver. I was in the back seat. She looked down at her hands. T10 spinal injury. Complete. They told me I'd never walk again. My father. He took it harder than I did. He blamed himself. He blamed the world. And then he started trying to protect me from it. She met Jasper's eyes. I love him, but he doesn't see me anymore. He sees something breakable. Jasper set down his tools. You're the least breakable person I've ever met. Something in her chest twisted. You don't know that. Yes, I do. He stood, walked over, crouched in front of her chair. You show up every day. You demand better. You don't apologize for taking up space. That's not breakable. That's steel. Amina's throat burned. She looked away. My father wants me to meet someone stable. Someone safe. An accountant, maybe. Or a lawyer. Someone boring. Someone who won't build me a custom wheelchair in his basement at 2 a.m. Jasper smiled. Fair point. He's hosting a dinner next week. He wants to meet you. Jasper's smile faded. Me? I told him I was working with an engineer. He wants to assess the situation. Assess me, you mean? Yes. And if I fail the assessment? Amina's voice dropped. Then we keep building anyway, because this is my choice, not his. Jasper held her gaze. Then he nodded. Tell me when and where. I'll be there. The regional qualifiers came faster than either of them expected. The chair wasn't finished. Not really. Jasper had rushed the final assembly, skipping his usual triple checks because Amina needed to compete, and he'd promised her it would be ready. He'd tested it himself, rolled it around the lab, checked every bolt and joint. It seemed solid. Seemed. The competition was held at an outdoor range 2 hours north, wind gusting across the field, targets set at 70 meters. Amina rolled to the line in the prototype, her bow across her lap, her face calm and focused. She'd trained for this. She was ready. First round, perfect grouping. Second round, 2 10s and a 9. Third round, she drew, anchored, released, and felt something shift, not break. Shift. The chair tilted slightly, just a fraction, but enough to throw off her balance mid-release. The arrow went wide. Not by much, but enough. She reset, drew again. This time the shift was worse. A rattle in the frame, a looseness she could feel through her entire body. Panic tried to rise. She shoved it down. She finished the round, placed fourth, high enough to advance, not high enough to feel safe. When she rolled off the range, Jasper was waiting, his face pale. "I felt it," she said before he could speak. "I know. I saw." "What happened?" "I don't know." His voice was tight, angry, at himself, not her. "I checked everything. Jasper." She reached out, grabbed his hand. "I'm okay. You almost weren't. But I am. This time." He pulled his hand away, ran it through his hair. "If something fails at nationals, if you get hurt because I rushed, then we fix it." Her voice was firm. "You don't get to spiral. Not now. We have work to do." He looked at her, something breaking behind his eyes. "I can't lose you to my own mistake." "Then don't make the same mistake twice." It was harsh, but it was what he needed to hear. That night, he tore the chair apart and started over. The dinner with her father was exactly as uncomfortable as Amina had expected. Colonel Sadiq Balogun sat at the head of the table in their small, off-campus apartment, his posture military straight, his expression carefully neutral. He was a big man, solid, with silver threading through his hair and eyes that missed nothing. Beside him sat Amina's mother, Grace, softer, warmer, but no less watchful. Jasper arrived in a button-down and slacks, his hair combed, his hands scrubbed clean but still marked by work. "Mr. Balogun, Mrs. Balogun." He shook their hands. "Thank you for having me." "Jasper." Her father's voice was polite, distant. "Amina tells us you're an engineer." "Yes, sir. Biomechanical engineering, 4th year." "And you're building my daughter a wheelchair." "A competition chair, yes, for adaptive archery." Her father set down his fork. "Why?" Jasper didn't flinch. "Because she asked, and because I can. You understand she'll be using this at high speeds, under physical strain. If something fails..." "I'm aware of the risks, sir. That's why I'm building redundancies into every system." "And if you miss something?" Jasper met his eyes. "Then I'll fix it. Immediately. And I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." Silence. Amina's father leaned back. "You're very confident." "I'm very careful." Confidence without caution gets people hurt. Caution without action keeps people stuck. The air tightened. Amina's mother jumped in smoothly. "Jasper, Amina says you've been working late nights. You must be exhausted." "I don't mind. It's important work." "Important to whom?" her father asked. "To Amina? Or to your thesis?" "Both." "And when your thesis is done? What happens to my daughter then?" Jasper's jaw tightened. "With respect, sir, your daughter isn't something that happens to. She's someone who makes choices. I'm just trying to support the one she's made." Her father stood. "Let me show you something." He led Jasper to the living room, where a photo hung on the wall. Amina at 16. standing tall in a track uniform, mid-stride, fierce and whole. That's who she was, her father said quietly. Strong. Unstoppable. And then one night, one drunk driver, and everything changed. His voice cracked just slightly. I couldn't protect her then, but I can now. Jasper looked at the photo, then at the colonel. You can't protect her from living, sir, and she doesn't need you to. You don't know what it's like. You're right. I don't. Jasper's voice was steady. But I know what it's like to watch someone fight for independence while the world keeps trying to decide what they can handle. My aunt spent years being told what she couldn't do. Amina's spent years proving people wrong. If you keep trying to protect her from risk, you're just another person telling her she's not enough. Silence dropped between them like a blade. Then her father exhaled, long and slow. You care about her. Yes, sir. More than your project. Yes. Another silence. Then, if anything happens to her because of your work, it won't. But if it does, then you'll have every right to blame me. But it won't. Her father studied him for a long moment, then nodded once. We'll see. Nationals arrived like a storm. The chair was perfect now. Jasper had rebuilt it from the ground up. Stronger frame, better welds, triple redundant locking systems. He'd tested it for a week straight, put it through stresses that no competition would match. It was bulletproof. But Amina was nervous, not about the chair, about herself. She'd trained for this, dreamed of this. But standing at the starting line, wind cutting across the outdoor range, cameras everywhere, voices blurring into noise, she felt 17 again. Felt the moment of impact. Felt everything she'd lost. Hey. Jasper appeared beside her, quiet as always. You're not supposed to be here, she said. Family and coaches only. I told them I was both. She almost laughed. Did they believe you? Does it matter? She looked at him. He was calm, steady, exactly what she needed. What if I fail? She whispered. You won't. But what if... Amina. He crouched, met her eyes. You've already won. Every day you show up, every time you refuse to be small. That's the victory. This? He gestured to the range. This is just showing everyone else what I already know. Her throat tightened. Which is? That you're unstoppable. She reached out, squeezed his hand once. Then she rolled to the line. The competition was brutal. Wind shifts, tough groupings, competitors who'd been training for years. But Amina was locked in. Every draw was clean. Every release was perfect. The chair moved like an extension of her body. Fast, responsive, exactly what she needed. Final round, final arrow. She drew, anchored, breathed, released. The arrow flew, straight and true, punching into the 10 ring with a sound like a promise kept. The crowd erupted. Amina lowered her bow, exhaled, and let herself feel it. Not just the victory, but the proof. Proof that she was exactly who she'd always been. Proof that the world's limitations didn't apply to her. She placed second overall. Bronze medal. When she rolled off the range, Jasper was waiting, her father beside him. Her father stepped forward first, his eyes bright. He crouched, pulled her into a hug that smelled like Old Spice and home. I'm sorry, he whispered, for doubting you, for doubting him. I know, Dad. He pulled back, looked at Jasper, extended his hand. Jasper shook it. You kept your promise, her father said. I told you I would. A single nod. Take care of her. Jasper glanced at Amina. I think she takes care of herself. Her father smiled, small but real. Then just stand beside her. That I can do. Later that night, after the medals and the photos and the noise, Amina and Jasper sat alone on a bench outside the athletic center. the campus quiet around them. "You didn't fix me," Amina said quietly. Jasper looked at her. "I never thought you were broken." "Good." She leaned her head against his shoulder. "Because I wasn't." He wrapped an arm around her, careful, steady. "I know." They sat like that for a long time. Two people who'd found each other not because one was broken and the other whole, but because both understood that strength came in forms the world didn't always recognize. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you could do was stand beside someone and say, "I see you, exactly as you are." And that's enough. Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Afro-Korean Story Vault, the hub of great stories. If this story reminded you that love isn't about saving someone, it's about standing firm beside their strength, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Some victories aren't about overcoming weakness. They're about honoring power where the world refuses to see it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.